recording. All right, team. So I'm super excited for this call. We have our first guest coach, which is really exciting. Let's start with recognition first. Sorry I didn't post it in the team group. I am about to have my ends with my job. Almost walked out today. Story for another day. Anyways, congratulations to Emily Umbrico. You have 8 Success Club points, and it's your first month. You're killing it. Super proud of you. Way to go. Brittany Russo, you have 6, and Stephanie Parks, you have 6. So great job, team. A lot of you are so close. I've got Amber Foster at 4. Oh, where'd my computer go? Hold on, I lost everybody. Sorry. Okay. I got Amber Foster at 4. Stephanie Parks, I have you at 4, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, I have you at 6. Just kidding. I just said that. Just kidding. Jennifer, you're so close. You're at 4. And then a couple of you are at 2. We have 1 week left of the month. Don't give up, guys. Last week I didn't think I was going to hit Success Club 10 this month, and then bam, I'm at 12. So don't give up. We can definitely do it. You still have a week left for those in the Coach Basics. And if you've been a coach starting in June, you can earn that free shirt. Pretty much everybody in that group earned one. So great job so far. So guys, keep it up. So tonight we have a guest coach, Erin. I met Erin off of Instagram. If you don't follow her, you should. Her Instagram account is amazing. She's very real, and she is not afraid to be real, which I love, and tell people off, which I love even more. You know how people are on Instagram. They like to hate. Erin just celebrated her 1-year anniversary coach. Yay. She is a diamond coach. She was the #1 producer in January and the #4 producer in February. That means on top of all these other coaches out there, she was #1 and 4, which is phenomenal. I've chatted with Erin quite a bit via Facebook. I've been following her forever on Instagram. So I just wanted to invite her to this call and just kind of share some stuff that she does, because she rocks her challenge groups. She is ridiculously busy. She just got done taking the bar exam and getting her master's in I don't know what, something in lawyer C. She'll talk about it. I don't know. So Erin, I'm going to hand it over to you. I am going to put myself on mute and take it away, Erin.
Awesome. Hi guys. It's nice to be here with you guys. So a little bit about myself. Like Ashley said, it's only been a year with Beachbody. Best decision I think I've made. When I decided to sign up, I was starting my last year of law school, and it was right after my Instagram account had taken off, because I had started my weight loss journey in the beginning of January of last year, and I was over 200 pounds and just tried clean eating and Bikram yoga, and somehow the weight started to come off, and I just started sharing my story, and I started doing free fitness challenges on Instagram, and that gained interest. And I actually met my Beachbody coach, Stacy, doing that, and she was like, "You do all these free challenges. Why aren't you a Beachbody coach? You like to do Beachbody workouts," because I'd done them in the past and liked them. But so she goes, "Why aren't you a coach?" And I said, "Well, that's a good question," because I had a website, I had a blog, I was doing all this stuff because I just loved it. I loved being able to help others try to lose weight. And so I signed up, and I hit the ground running, and it was the best decision I made. Despite being busy with law school, I still found time to work the business. And what I love about Beachbody is it allows you to still do a lot of things that you want to do. What job can you have that allows you to work around your schedule and your responsibilities? So for me, it was nice, when you're in law school, you're broke and in lots of debt. And so Beachbody allowed me to pay my bills, actually have stuff in savings. I had never been able to have a savings account before. So I got to do that, do more traveling, do more fun stuff. And then it just kind of grew. And so I've continued to do it, obviously. I graduated law school, moved, sat for the bar exam. I still plan on being an attorney. I'm waiting for my results, fingers crossed. But what I love right now is that I literally have Beachbody to support me through everything. And it's not your typical job, right? We all know that. It's not your typical 9 to 5, but I think it's probably one of the more rewarding things that I've actually ever done. Even better than some of the legal work I've done. So it's awesome. I started out, my first 2 coaches were actually some folks who were in my free Instagram challenge, and they joined, and they're still with me. One of them is Marina, and she's great, and she's rocking her business as well. And I actually just got off of a call with her earlier, and she's trying to quit her job and do Beachbody full time because she wants to have more time to spend with her son, who just graduated high school, and take care of her dad. And so lots of great stuff. So right now I have about 60 to 70 personally sponsored coaches, and they have some of their own coaches. It's really awesome. Right now I'm trying to focus on really growing my business and inviting people and sharing with people how great of an opportunity Beachbody is. When I first started, like I said, my Instagram account had taken off, and so I was busy from the get-go, and so I had to learn quickly how to talk to clients, how to sell challenge packs and do challenge groups, and that's been the biggest part of my business, has actually been selling to people and running successful challenge groups. I have a little bit of a system that I do to help kind of recruit people for challenge groups. Because for me, I want to coach people who are ready and committed and want to make the change, right? Because it's hard to keep people motivated if they aren't really ready and they're kind of teetering back and forth, and you end up spending a lot of time trying to chase everyone around. So I focus on folks who are really ready and committed. And the way that I figure that out is I actually have people fill out a survey using surveymonkey.com. And I ask them questions and tell me about yourself. Why are you ready to commit to this challenge? What's your experience with, weight loss and, Beachbody, and do you have a Beachbody coach? And all those sorts of things, right? And then I actually select people from those surveys, and I will email them. So, which is kind of nice too, right? Because it makes it seem more selective, and it is, versus just on Instagram when you're constantly seeing people leaving their email, say, just leave me your email or whatever. Sometimes that can be, it doesn't come off as genuine, right? And you want people to think that like they matter, that you really care, and that, they're really going to get something out of it. So doing the survey seems to really work for me. And I also do that for coaches who want to sign up on my team. They have to apply. And so similar kind of survey, and then I will email them. That way, I'm not spending hours and hours and hours emailing people back and forth only to not get anything out of it. Right. So that's part of the business. And, unfortunately, that's just part of what we have to do. But what I've realized is that if you're busy, like for me with law school and studying for the bar exam, I had to find a way to do things efficiently and effectively versus spending lots of time, emailing constantly and trying to chase folks around. So using the surveys really helped me find folks who are really interested and committed. And it also gave me info that I could now go email them and chat with them about and have a little bit more of a heartfelt, like one-on-one with them, because I know a little bit about their background. And so I recommend doing that. So I started getting folks in my challenge groups by doing the surveys, and those work great. And once I'm in the challenge groups, of course we have our daily posts, and I actually just follow the challenge group guides that are in your Coach Online office. They are super helpful and beneficial, and you can always tweak them. So what I do is I have the challenge group guide, and I also create another calendar that has just a daily post to get people involved, right? Just to post post your sweaty selfie or something. It's Flux Friday. Show me your guns or something cute, something fun to keep them engaged versus just, strict fitness and motivational posts, something to keep them a little engaged. So I do that. I check in with them. I allow them to schedule one-on-one calls with me. But that's usually how it goes. And we do weekly check-ins. I ask people to sign a challenge group commitment form at the beginning that kind of goes over what a challenge group is about, what I expect, checking in daily, posting, daily and that sort of thing. And so that way it it's like more official, right? And it seems more legitimate. It seems very organized and structured. And that's what people want. And that's what I've noticed is people need someone to lead them. And so you have to lead by example, and you have to give them that structure and routine, because most people lack that. And they lack the ability to create that for themselves. So the more that you can do for them with keeping it structured and making it seem like it's a big deal and treating it like it's a big deal, that it's a priority, that has been one of the biggest things that has helped me. So so that's kind of my experience with challenge groups. I usually have anywhere from 30 to 300 challengers in a challenge group. I will tell you, I don't recommend having lunch challenge groups. That is something I have learned that I need to change, right? So when you start to get bigger groups, you kind of lose that personal touch, and it's hard to keep track of everyone, and people tend to get kind of inundated and overwhelmed with all of the posts. So my recommendation, learn from my failures, try to keep them kind of small, separate them out. That way, you can kind of get to know everyone and actually like know about them and follow them, be able to keep up with them and check in with them. That's been a big thing that I've had to learn, because the bigger groups, I actually see less people participating, which is always discouraging, right? It's hard when you have these awesome challenge groups you put together and then you struggle with having people stay motivated and participating. So the smaller the group, I think the better. That's my recommendation. Another helpful hint that I use, especially with being busy, was I use Hootsuite. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard of that. I use Hootsuite to actually schedule all of my posts ahead of time. And it's free, but I can schedule all of my challenge group posts, and that's what really helped me, because I was having trouble trying to find time to fit everything in, emailing people back, doing my daily posts, checking in with people. And so by using Hootsuite, I was able to just pre-schedule everything, and it just takes care of itself. So all I have to do is come back, participate myself, and check in with everyone. So that's been really, really helpful for me. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. Actually, can you think of anything in particular about challenge groups or coaches?
No, challenge groups is really good. That's something that we've been wanting to cover anyways too. So that's great. Sorry, my dog is like barking and trying to jump off my chair. That's great. Anything that you want to share about like your business coaching, what you found has worked? Because a lot of us on the team, like myself included, we're still learning. A lot of us are new coaches. Our team went from, I think, like 8 in February, and we now are close to 100. So we're all fairly new coaches. So any tips you have, anything you want to share?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I think with the business, right, you're always learning, always. I'm still learning, what's going to work best for me, and with leading my own team. I think the biggest thing I can say, and I even say this to my challengers, I say this to everyone, you have to be on a set schedule and routine, right? You have to have good time management, because the minute you start letting things slip, it builds up and it becomes so overwhelming to get back into it. So for example, for me, during July, it was right before the bar exam, and I unfortunately stopped being as proactive with my business as I could have been. I had just got so overwhelmed, and I thought, I'll answer these emails once the bar exam is over. I'll check in with my coaches, when this is over. And what I found is that was actually detrimental, and I needed to still make time. It might not be as much time, if you're going through something or whatever. It might not be, I was spending an hour or two doing emails and stuff. I had to cut that back. That sort of thing. When you're busy, learning how to manage your schedule and manage your time so you still get things done. You're still doing those 3 vital behaviors that we always talk about, the personal development and the posting and the inviting and that sort of thing. So time management has been huge, because what I've noticed from my successful coaches are ones who are organized. They have good time management skills. They're motivated and they're self-motivated. And that's another thing, learning to find that motivation to keep going when you might not get the paycheck you want, or you might hear a lot of no's. Learning to not take any of that personally and just to keep pushing forward is just huge, 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 huge. I've seen lots of coaches come and go who, they don't get a big paycheck the first week or the first month and they think, oh, well, this isn't for me. Or they hear a couple no's and they don't hear a yes, at first. And so they decide, this isn't for me. So really remembering why you're doing this and why you like being a Beachbody coach is huge, because you're going to have good months, you're going to have bad months. For me, my bad month was July, but for every bad month, there's going to be so many more good months. And the people that you meet are absolutely amazing and they make it totally worth it. So yeah, definitely staying motivated, having your time management has been huge. Make sure you schedule out time for, doing your Beachbody stuff every day and every week, follow up with people. It's another thing I noticed that in the beginning where I lacked was that I wasn't following up with a lot of my coaches, or not my coaches, my clients, I'm sorry. So if a client fell off, or prospective clients, especially, it's mostly prospective clients. So if I was chatting with them and they, said, oh, I'm kind of on the fence, and I didn't want to be pushy. So I said, oh, okay, well, let's touch base sometime soon. And then I'd forget to follow up. And what I've realized is since I've stopped doing that, since I've made an effort to follow up and say, hey, I know we chatted, a couple weeks ago, how are things going? I've seen that people actually do come around. So your first initial no might turn into a yes. So definitely staying persistent and following up with people, but not being pushy. I've learned now, sorry, something fell. I've learned now that when I talk to someone, a prospective client, I give them the information. I try not to overload them with too much, but I try to give them the information. And from there, what I like to do is I like to say, here's all this awesome info. I'm going to give you a couple days to go over this, and I am going to talk to you on such and such date. And then on that date, I'll email them and say, hey, how did it go? What did you think? And kind of keep the dialogue going from there. That way, they don't have to just rely on themselves to contact you, because a lot of times they're going to forget, or if they're on the fence, they're afraid to ask questions. So making sure you follow up and you're on top of that is huge, because you'll see that you'll actually get people to come around, or, people who are just kind of on the fence, they usually end up going for it. So definitely try to follow up with folks and stay on top of it. Definitely, I know it's a hard balance sometimes with worrying about feeling pushy or, bugging them, but you really aren't. Phrase it in a friendly way, set deadlines and expectations so that the communication is clear and they know what to expect and they know that they're going to hear from you again, because that really does work. Let's see. What else? I'm trying to think.
Do you want to open it up for any questions, Erin?
Yeah, people can ask me.
Sometimes this is a quiet group, so I know how all of you guys are every week. So honestly, guys, if you guys have any questions, it's nice to hear from other people and not just me talking all the time. So now's a great time. I did put Erin's Instagram name in the chat box. Follow her. She's awesome. But does anybody have any questions they want to ask?
Yeah, I actually have a few questions. Okay, when you were talking about, the survey you do for like challenge group people, I think that sounds great, but some of us new coaches are probably like, oh, I'm ecstatic, I sold 3 challenge packs. So it's like, I can't really be picky or choosy. I'm going to have like one person in my group. So I guess my question is, at what point did you start doing that? That sounds like a great idea, but I feel like I can't do that yet.
Yeah, so you don't even have to think of it as you're doing it to weed people out. For me, I had to do it from the beginning. So I was one of those folks who started out, and then my Instagram was huge, and I do 100% of my business via Instagram, 100%, which is awesome. I mean, there's so many other avenues and you should be doing all of them. But for me, it was always Instagram, right? So I had a lot of people who were interested right off the bat. And so I had to learn to be selective. There are some months like July, I was not selective at all because it was not my good month. And I knew like I needed to make sales and, I needed to find that balance. So think about it as a way to gather information from them, right?
Okay.
Get the preliminary info that you would be asking them in these emails, but think of it as, okay, I'm gonna get this info, but they're also looking at it like, wow, this is a selective process and she chose me. You don't have to tell them that you're taking everyone. You can just say, I'm selecting, applicants for the challenge group and, fill out this info. It's a way for me to get to know you and see if you're, see if we can get you on board. So I would look at it that way versus thinking that it has to be something that you're selective. I didn't learn about SurveyMonkey until the beginning of this year when I was so overwhelmed with trying to keep up with challengers or people who are interested in the challenge group that I had to find a different way, right? Because a lot of times people would email me, I'd get, hundreds of emails from folks on Instagram and they want to join the challenge, but they want to get all this info, right? And they want me to spend a lot of time chatting with them and then they don't follow through with anything and say, oh no, I can't afford that or whatever. So being upfront with people, first and foremost and saying, hey, this is my challenge group, a workout program and Shakeology is required. That's what I usually do for folks. I do other ones, but that's usually my one. And then I let them know, it's not free, but please fill out like this survey to be selected. We only have a couple slots available, whatever. But it at least makes it seem more selective and people tend to respond to that because the people who actually do want to be committed and they want to be coached and they're coachable and they're ready, they're the ones that are going to take the time to fill that out versus folks who are just kind of feeling it out. I mean, if they have questions, I would say if you have questions, you can email me, but if you think you're ready to commit, fill out this survey and, I'll be selecting folks. So that's probably how I would look at it for you.
Okay. And when you say you like to keep your challenge groups small, like how many members are you talking?
Now I try to keep them 30 and under.
See, that's like huge for me, 30.
Yeah. And for most it is, right? And for most it is. So my coaches, I tell them to have like 10 or less. A lot of them have 5 folks in a challenge group. And I think that the smaller numbers work better. I just think you're able to have much more control over it and interaction. So yeah. So my idea is small. I know it's not small. But yeah, just try to keep it simple, keep it small, and keep it intimate. That way people seem to stay on board.
Okay. So. And now Ashley said that you don't have trouble like calling people out. I guess I want to know more about that. So if someone doesn't post for how many days, are you like messaging them and calling them out?
I do. I'll personally message them and say, hey, I haven't heard from you, right? So every week in a challenge group, I have my weekly check-in, say, hey guys, it's been a week. How has the week been going? If I haven't seen a post from you, I expect a text message or I'm going to come after you. I said, don't make me come find you. Right. That sort of thing. Right. And even just the other day, I told a group, I said, look, I'm going to close this group out because of the lack of participation. And I feel like I put a lot of effort into running and hosting these things. And if you aren't committed, then I think that this group needs to shut down. And so if you would like to continue on a challenge, you can privately message me and I will add you to my next upcoming challenge. And then I'm selective from there. Okay. And I know that probably sounds really mean and so just crazy, right? Because we want to include everyone, we want to help everyone, but sometimes people need a little bit of a wake-up call, right? They need to be shook up a little bit because it's easy for people with these virtual challenge groups to just not log in and just kind of ignore it. And so sometimes you gotta message them, you got to post them there, and you just got to be brutally honest, because I think the hard thing is with the business that I've had to learn is that your time is valuable and the effort you put into things is very valuable. And so just because you want to help everyone doesn't mean that you should be taken advantage of or be putting in all this effort and not having people respond back to you. You wouldn't act that way at a business, right? You wouldn't go to work and act like that and ignore your boss or whatever. So setting those expectations from the beginning that you expect them to participate and, talking to them, I try to be really kind and open, but after it keeps happening, right, then that's when I'm like, look, this continues to happen, continues to be a problem. So I think that, the best alternative is either, we get you on board. Maybe we do private coaching with you. Maybe a challenge group isn't your scene. Maybe I need to work with you more closely. Or if it's a big group of folks who aren't participating, saying, look, this group isn't being utilized and I think we need to close that out. And you can join another challenge. So
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Erin, I know maybe not anybody on this call, but even the ones that are recording, I know for some people, they're afraid of failure. And I know you, I watch your Instagram and you'll be like, enough with the hating, like get off my page. Like we all have it. Anybody that shares their before and afters, we're going to have it. Do you have any advice for them? Because I do have a couple coaches, they're afraid to put themselves out there because they're afraid of rejection. And for me, it's easy to say, oh, have thick skin because I dealt with it for the last year. I mean, you and I are both battling people stealing our pictures and whatnot every single day. So any advice that you would have, like even if they're not on the call, because I know that they'll listen to this recording later.
Oh, of course. So that's actually always a work in progress for me, right? I am actually super sensitive. So it hurt my feelings at first when people would say stuff. I've always been one of those fearless people, though. I'll just do it. Like, especially if you tell me no, I'll probably do it. And that's probably why I'm going to be a great lawyer. I don't know. So, when I put my photos out there in the beginning, I just knew I had to do it to hold myself accountable. Now, people say rude stuff all the time. I just call them out for it and tell them bye. And, but it is hard, right? And you do have to learn to get a thick skin and not take things personally. And I can tell you there are times when it really gets under my skin, and I totally post about it all the time. I think just remembering that with Beachbody, you're a leader, right? And you're there to motivate and inspire. And so how can you do that? And how can you ask people to step outside of their comfort zone when you won't do it yourself? I mean, you can't do that. That's like the pot calling the kettle black. You just can't do that, right? So you need to lead by example. And that means sometimes doing things like posting your photos, posting your weight and your measurements so that people know that it's a safe place, that you're a safe person, and that they can trust and confide in you, and they can take that leap of faith with you. So I always try to remember it. Oh my gosh, like, yes. Bah, Felicia, that's what I always say. So I love that saying, sorry. So yeah, really try to lead by example and show folks that there's nothing to be afraid of, right? Because weight loss is super personal and it brings up a lot of thoughts and feelings, and it's hard, right? And you're really just vulnerable is what it is. And so showing that you can do that, and so can they. That's going to be huge to your business, because I can't tell you how many times a day I get stuff on Instagram or my emails or Facebook or whatever where people are like, wow, you shared that with me, and that really spoke to me, and now I want to make those changes too. And that's how I get a lot of clients, actually, and coaches, is I talk from the heart, and I put myself out there, and I do those things that most people might find uncomfortable or unconventional, but by doing that and showing people that it's okay and that I can do it, they feel like they can do it too. So definitely don't be afraid to post stuff. And most of the time, if it's like something on Instagram, it's a troll. I figured that out after getting really butthurt so many times. So it's usually not even a real person. Just don't be worried about failure, because failure is actually where you learn to grow the most. And that's what I learned in July with studying for the bar and doing all that stuff. I mean, studying for the bar exam, that had to be my number one priority, but learning that really my business depends on me being a leader and still doing all of those things that I say I'm going to do, following through, checking in with my coaches, checking in with my clients, because no matter what, I have to lead by example. And so seeing, my coaches not being as productive in July was really eye-opening, because I wasn't leading by example, and so they weren't following. They just stopped doing some stuff too. And so when you realize how important it is to set the example for others, it's a great motivator, that's for sure. So yeah, don't be afraid of failure at all.
Even Carl said during Summit, I know, Erin, you weren't able to make it. We're going to fail. And by failing, that means you're succeeding. If you haven't watched his speech that he did at the end of the Summit, I highly suggest you find it on YouTube, because that's literally what he said. You need to, if you're not failing every single day, then you're doing something wrong. And yeah. I know for my team, I feel like September is probably your July, or no, this is August. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay.
August was awful for my entire team, not just my team, but my big team.
Yeah.
August was rough for all of us.
I feel like a lot of us, like, I know Stephanie was just like, she's like, finally Success Club 6, like, thank you. Like the other day, like, I was like, I am not going to get Success Club 10. And my team knows this is my 7th month. Like, I am trying to get to that home stretch of 12 to make it. And I'm like, if I don't get it, and every time you doubt yourself, you always end up coming back. But it's been a very, very rough month. And I don't know if it's because it's back to school. Even my husband said it's like the end of summer. People are kind of like, oh, I'm out of that fitness phase. Fall's coming, hoodies, I can hide behind them. So it's been a hard month. So
no, and it has been for me. Normally I'm used to, really high challenge pack sales and high SC club and all that. And I am at 14 right now. And for y'all, 14 is phenomenal, right? That's great. I know some of my coaches still struggle to get to Success Club 5. But for me, I noticed that August was hard. And it was hard to try to talk to people into purchasing challenge packs. Like even for my challenge group, it was a struggle. The struggle was so real this month. I think it is just back to school. There's lots of expenses right now with, people having to go back to school, and then lots of stressors, and people don't want to, or they think that they don't have the time to work out and to focus on that. And so, what I've told my team is I said, look, you just, again, got to lead by example. Create challenge groups that are appealing to folks who are busy, who are, busy moms who are just having their kids go back to school, or college students who are super busy trying to learn how to balance, all their classes, and folks who work. So find creative ways. I think I'll probably do something like a September slim down or something. I like to do stuff that's kind of catchy. At least makes it interesting. But yeah, August was a tough month. And what I like to do with our team as well, it's something I learned from my upline coach, Sarah Try. She was top 20 coach for 2013. And she actually started making us do Failure Fridays, and we had to post about our failures. And it's actually kind of awesome, because you realize that we all have things that we, failed at during the week, and it makes you feel a little less alone in your business, and makes you realize, like, you know what, it's fine. We all have something, but the fact of the matter is, you keep pushing forward. So that way, when we can talk, about every Thursday, we post rank advancements and talk about our successes. And so that way we get that nice balance. We can talk about it all, our failures, our successes. And it's really awesome. And on Thursdays, what I love is that we get to talk about what Beachbody has paid for us. So I like my team to talk about what Beachbody gave them that week, whether it's enough money to put, gas in their car that week, or maybe it's I can buy a baby formula for my child. No matter how big or small or whatever, hearing how Beachbody has had a positive impact on your life is great. And I love hearing that, because it's amazing to see what things are important to folks. You know, for me, I think the most touching ones was like, I could finally afford, you know, organic baby formula for my baby that I've been wanting, but I was, you know, I couldn't afford it before. Or, you know, someone who said that they were able to book the wedding photographer of their dreams because Beachbody afforded them a paycheck to put down the down payment and do that. So, so yeah, that's something that's really great for team morale. And just kind of remembering that, you know, we all work together. We all share very similar successes and failures. Because I know that the business at times can become frustrating and you can get down, like with slow months like August. For me, it was July. Bad in July. I'm not kidding. It was bad in July. You know, but realizing that, you know, life happens, and learning how to learn and grow from every time that you fail, and making those changes. That's been important for me and for my team. So yeah, definitely try to implement some of that. So it's awesome. It's really awesome to hear what everyone has to say about their successes and failures. So
yeah, those are good ideas. I like that. Does anybody else have any other questions for Erin? You guys are such a quiet bunch.
it's okay. My team is too. Except for Marina. Marina will talk and talk and talk, and it's usually just me and Marina chit-chatting.
If Brittany was on the call, Brittany would have lots of questions too.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, those are all like the main things that I can think of. I think it's just remembering to stay consistent and be persistent, and to not let a failure be a complete setback, right? And to always come back from that. You know, that's huge. You know, a lot of this business is remembering to stay motivated. And if you can always remember your why and stay focused on that and put your health and fitness first and foremost so that you can lead by example, the success in the business will come, you know, from that. You know, people just want to see that they can get results. So show them what Beachbody can do for them. Don't just tell them, but, you know, show them. That's going to be huge. So.
I like that last thing you said, because that's been something that we just posted on our team page the other day, that some of us are having a hard time with the fitness and the food and just keep it on track. And we're all like, yeah, we need to do it. And so just touching on that, I think that's something our team needs to hear, because I feel like that's something we've all lost focus of this month that a lot of us have been struggling with.
Yeah, no, and what I do for my team is when they say like, oh, I've totally fallen off the bandwagon, I don't know where to begin, I say, you know what? Go download the business activity tracker in your Coach Online office. I want you to set goals, and I want you to show me in 1 week, and that better be filled out, or I'm coming after you. That better be filled out, and that better look good, and I better get on Instagram and, like, you know, see your posts, and get on Facebook and see that, you know, you are following through with your word. And usually that actually helps, you know, because when I just tell them, oh yeah, we'll talk next week, a lot of times it's like, okay, cool, but you can't actually visualize everything. Then if you can't visualize it, and how are you going to remember it? So really kind of writing it all down, setting goals, and following through to get back on track and to, you know, keep doing well. That's what I would recommend. So.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have headphones, so I didn't know. Do you have advice? So I have I think I'm almost to 50 followers on Instagram. Like, I started like a week before I became a coach, so I'm really new to Instagram, but I was wondering if you had any advice on trying to expand that, because it seems like right now I'm posting some fitness, but mostly it's Beachbody people,
Yeah.
or Herbalife people that like that stuff, and so I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, totally. What is your Instagram name? And I'll critique you.
It's Emily_Alberico, so pretty much the same as yours, but I'll type it here. That'll make it easier.
Awesome, got it. I gotcha. Hey, look, you're at 50 followers. Woot. Okay.
That's a big milestone for me to be at 50 followers.
No, it's totally a big deal. So awesome. So my biggest thing that I noticed, obviously started getting followers, was hashtags. You're using hashtags. I can totally see that. So awesome. That's a big thing. Making what I tell my coaches is, like, Instagram is like a lesson in photography and marketing, and you got to create a brand, and it has to look aesthetically appealing. I think Shailene Johnson said a while back, like, make it look like a magazine, right? Make it look like something people want to go to. So that's what I try to remember when I do stuff. So lots of bright colors. If you notice, like on mine, like I don't normally have the whole photo being filled up with like a picture. It's like there's usually a border or some white. I try to keep things kind of streamlined, but using interesting fonts and apps. I have a thing. I wonder, can I attach? No, we can't attach. I'll send it to you actually. So it's an Instagram file thing that I came up with for my team. It talks about all the photo apps that I use, the accounts to get shouted out on to get the most followers, like the people who are better to do business with, and others who are like shady, don't do business. But yeah, so doing that. Another tip that Shailene Johnson actually talked about was if you use hashtags, have them on there for a little bit, take them off, and then a little while later, you can always go back and add some hashtags later on again. I know they say to not do big text things of hashtags, like a whole paragraph. I'm bad about that. I still do it. It still works for me. But I do know that being a little bit more selective, trying to find hashtags that aren't just Beachbody related, right? Things like 100 Days of Happy, or stuff like that isn't always going to be Beachbody, but is still popular and attracts interest to where you're still getting some traffic to your page. So yeah, I can give you that file actually, so you can just give it to everyone that has all that stuff on there. Definitely posting a lot about like your own journey. So your own before and afters, your own selfies, even if you think they're stupid and ridiculous. I have some coaches who are like, I'm not posting a selfie. And I'm like, yeah, you are. You absolutely are posting a selfie right now. And, so just making your page your brand. What is your brand? For you, clearly it's you're in school, like to get your PhD, that you're in, hey, you're a former cheerleader too, me too.
I'm stalking all the little girls that are like 12 on Instagram and doing all their little cheer stuff going, oh my God, I wish I was that age again.
I know, me too. I'm like, man, those are good days. I was so flexible. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. So yeah, making sure that you have your brand, making you stand out. And for me, the biggest way I've seen is people are always asking me, how do you make your photos? How do you make your posts? And that's by, using the different photo apps, having cool fonts. Word Swag is probably one of my favorite for cool fonts. And I'm always using like Rana Designs and Snapseed, but I'll give you guys all that info. But making your posts really interesting looking and really aesthetic, that's going to be huge, right? Because most people just take random snapshots in like terrible lighting. That's what the majority of Instagram is doing, right? So setting yourself apart, clean, crisp photos, bright colors, things that kind of stand out and pop. That's going to be a great way to kind of set yourself apart. Because think about it, like when you go and you look and you're scrolling through hashtags, you probably don't click on like the same photo of like chicken breast that like everyone posts, right? You're looking at, photos that are like nicely staged and put together and clean and bright, and like they look like official, like they look like really awesome. So try to keep that mindset, which I know can be kind of overwhelming because there's always so much to learn and do and remember. But that's actually where I focus most of my attention, is really making sure that when I post a photo or when I'm trying to market myself, it's a brand, and people like having a logo. And I still need to remember to put my logo on more stuff. I don't think it matters anymore, actually, with all of our photos.
No, they take it and they crop it out, or they post it with your own thing on there. One day someone was like, oh, they would have stolen your picture if you would have put your name on there. I'm like, my name was on there. It doesn't matter. They're going to steal it no matter what.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. I got an email just a couple hours ago. They're like, oh my God, I saw you on this juice cleanse page. How did you do the juice cleanse? How did it work? I'm like, girl, I like to eat. I did not do a juice cleanse, okay? first of all, like you would never see.
You can become our Beachbody lawyer when everybody starts stealing our pictures. You can just become the lawyer for all of us.
I will. I'm like so mad. Every time they steal stuff, I'm like, you are breaking that law and this law and this law, and I would see you for this. And I'm like, oh yeah. So bad. But yeah, definitely interesting logos. I have like my scales with like the fitness, the apple and like the weight on it. That's like my logo thing. I try to, just set myself apart that way, because focusing on that has been really helpful, because people love like all the different photos and I'm constantly being asked. So definitely focus on that. And I think even on my file, I have like articles for like best photography tips for beginners and for Instagram and for this and that. And so I'll give that to you guys. So yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Your before and afters on Pinterest. I actually post to Pinterest. I use Pinterest for my business. Y'all should do it. I get so many people from Pinterest. It's not even funny. And they go to my website, so I don't have just a Beachbody website. I have like my actual blog that I utilize, that has like, I'll just post the link here and you guys can check it out. It's kind of under construction. I've been tweaking stuff. It's going to be completely tweaked again, but I actually have my Instagram link to my website, which I then upload to Pinterest. So Pinterest gets all of my before and afters. It gets all of my blog posts, my recipes, my everything, fitness challenge stuff. And that brings in a lot of traffic, because before I started using Pinterest, I had maybe a couple thousand views on my blog, and now I have like over 500,000. And so it's a really great tool to use. But
so you said you link your blog to Pinterest?
Yeah. So what I do is like, on my blog, there's like a tab that says like me on Instagram. And so when I click on that, you can upload the web version of Instagram. Mm-hmm. And then from there I pin to Pinterest. Or if I have like a good article or a blog post I've written, or like, I think I did it for my pile materials that I created for people to just use. I took photos and like the same ones y'all saw on like Instagram, but they were embedded in my blog post. And then I just took that URL and created a pin, and it uploaded the photos from my blog post. And then that's how I got a ton of PIO folks.
Check that out.
So yeah, and there was someone, and I'll have to ask one of my coaches for the link. She did this whole talk on how Pinterest is a great way to bring in business. Because I can remember sitting there in law school when I probably should have been paying attention, and I was Pinteresting, and like just scrolling through all the health and fitness stuff and creating motivation boards. So that's been a big thing. I know a lot of my challengers use Pinterest to find their 21-day fix recipes, mm-hmm. and like that sort of stuff. So that's always helpful. But yeah, definitely if Pinterest is something y'all are interested in, I would check out how to use Pinterest for your business, because it's a great tool to use as well.
Definitely.
I have a quick question. Do you pay for your website, or how did you get started? I know I've looked into a couple, so how did you get that started?
Yeah, so actually mine is through Blogger. You wouldn't notice, right? Because like I have my erinmorgan.com. Mm-hmm. I actually just paid GoDaddy, I think it was like $64 for mm-hmm. my domain name. And that's all I did. It's Blogger. I like log into Blogger, which is free and awesome and easy to use. I can't figure out WordPress for the life of me.
I couldn't figure out Blogger. Mine's through WordPress, but it was also 10 hours straight of not stopping and figuring it out.
Yeah, no, and I had to sit down and like really hash it out. But yeah, having my own website separate from my Beachbody thing has been a really important thing, because no one just wants to be sent to your Beachbody website. First of all, it's confusing. Beachbody needs to like fix that, because I find that my clients get more confused by going to the website. So having my own personal website where I can have my blog, right, and people can get to know me and hear my personal story. They can look at, there's one tab on my thing called, my weight loss plan, where I go over all I do to lose weight. There's another one for Shakeology recipes. Soon I'm going to switch it and have just a tab for Beachbody programs and then a tab for Shakeology, because I have blog posts about that, but they're getting lost in there. And so, you know, having that organized, that's where I'll have a tab for like my fitness challenge, so people can read about what a fitness challenge is about. Another one, of course, for joining my team that goes over all the, you know, requirements for coaching. And then a link so they can go and do that survey. So that's a great way to do that. So it kind of has all the information compiled from all my social media accounts like Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, and my Beachbody website, and it consolidates it into one website that's user-friendly for people and more personal. So yeah, I actually really love having my website. I plan to blog more, you know, now that I'm at a law school. So yeah, do Blogger or WordPress. It's free and it's easy. So, and then whenever, you know, you decide that you want to have your own domain, I didn't decide that until honestly, I think 2 months ago. I think maybe a little bit longer. It was right at the end of law school when I finally decided to have like my own domain, because typing in like my super long like blog name, you know, was too much. So it all fell in again with creating my own brand that was recognizable to people. So definitely.
Anybody else have any other questions? All right, well, Erin, thank you so much for being our first guest coach. Super excited. It's always great to hear other people talk besides my own voice. I'm sure everybody else appreciates, and getting different perspective from other people, because we all do things a different way. I know I have a page of notes, and I've been doing it just as long as you have. Like, we always are learning new things, like you said. So thank you so much for being our guest speaker. Team, I am going to stop the recording and let Erin hop off. If you guys want to stick around and have anything to talk about afterwards, we can do so.